Personal in Spanish is one of the most difficult things, in my opinion, for a North American to get. So exercise C covers personal and since this is a review of Spanish 1, I'm also including negatives and contractions. First of all, don't feel bad if you don't know any of this. Simply work on it with the listings here and with the practice exercises, and then ask me questions if you need to. Please send me an email if there's a problem. Okay, first of all, personal goes after the verb, before the direct object, and since I didn't leave you enough room to write direct object, you can write just D-O. If the direct object is a person or a pet. We'll get back to that in a minute. A direct object answers the question who or what. Next, to say don't or doesn't, you put no before the verb in a Spanish sentence. Third, there are only two contractions in Spanish, al and del. So if you have al, that's A-L, that comes from a plus el. Del comes from de plus el. And if you wanted to, quick review on that, in case you didn't have it covered too, you can get this now. If I wanted to say, I walk to the supermarket, then you would have yo. You take the verb caminar, take off the AR, replace it with an O to match the yo. By the way, you could drop the yo if you wanted to. 2 is the letter A, and then, don't just write this down because I'm going to intentionally make a mistake, the supermarket, el supermercado. In that sentence in Spanish, you have an A beside an el. You cannot do that unless the L has an accent. So you get rid of that, and instead you just write al. Yo camino al supermercado. Similar things happen with de and el. If I said that something is from the book, again, don't write it down. I'm going to intentionally make a mistake. That would be from is de, el is the, book is libro. So you cannot have a de beside an L unless the L has an accent mark on it. You're going to mix them together. It's going to simply become del libro. Now, if you said instead from the girl, then you would have de. The girl is going to be la, and muchacha or chica. You don't need to mix these. De and la don't slow together. If you spoke a normal rate and you said de el libro, it's going to mix together anyway, and it'll become del libro. If you spoke normally here and you tried to say a el supermercado, you have to make it sound choppy, so it mixes together. All right, let's go ahead to the sentences. Number 1, we don't help Maria. My suggestion is you put a slash mark every time after the verb. So slash mark, we don't help, then ask who or what. We don't help who or what. Does Maria answer the question? Yes. And if Maria answers the question, and if she is a person or a pet, you need a personal a. So I would write the a right above to remind myself to put a personal a there. We have nosotros for we. Don't becomes no, remembering don't becomes no before the verb. So no. To help is ayudar. We take off the AR. Then we add the ending to match the we, nosotros, and we have ayudamos. Next thing we need is a personal a, and then Maria. What we need to be careful with in this is that the verb in Spanish is not always the verb in English. For example, if we look at the verb to look at, We are looking here. Mirar means to look at. At is a part of the verb. It's not always a part of the verb, but in this sentence it is. So you don't have a separate word a. To look for is the whole verb. If we look further down, to listen to, whole verb. To wait for, whole verb. So when we're doing our slash mark here, she always looks at, the slash mark's going to have to go after the at. So we read again. She always looks at, stop right there. She looks at who or what. Does Julio answer that question? She always looks at Julio. Yes, it does. So is Julio a person or a pet? Yes, he is. Therefore, you're going to need a personal a. I would put the a above the slash mark. Number 3, I look for the books. Your English brain is going to tell you to put the slash mark after look, but the Spanish verb in this sentence is look for. So I look for the books. So I stop right there. I look for who or what. The books is the answer, right? I'll look for who or what? The books. Are the books people or pets? No. So I do not need a personal a there. My suggestion would be to go through the sentences first, slash mark after each verb, and then say, is that a person or a pet after the slash mark? They need who or what? The teacher. In this case, the teacher is a person or a pet, so you need a personal a. And that covers total of personal a, negatives, and contractions. Thank you.